that's a kind of impact that leaders are having when we have that kind of leadership support system, and we've made sure that the leaders have the kind of skills and they're focused on being a leader. It doesn't mean they have to be a leader all the time, because some managers spend more time being a builder.
Right.
And that takes us back to this concept of balance.
Right.
I often talk about balance isn't about being equal. Balance is if you have a balance point and you have a plate sitting on top and you have some weight over here, so it's really sitting about halfway out, but it's a little bit heavy, and you have just a little bit of weight, where are you going to put it? Well, you're not going to put it equally out. That's not going to counterbalance anything. But if you go to the extreme, that could bring it back into balance. And so that's what we've got to do is we got to figure out. Sometimes we have to just do a little bit but do it to the extreme, and that will bring back balance into the situation.
Got it.
So a mid-level manager is probably going to be spending a lot more of their time on the builder side of things, monitoring the systems and making sure the systems are all working well. But they need to pay attention to that when they start making decisions about those systems, how that impacts the other managers and their ability to engage employees. Is it going to tick somebody off and make them upset? And because we decided, we're going to throw this extra step into the process and make you jump through a bunch of extra hoops to do something. I often tell HR folks that, look, you can support managers, and that's a very important role because managers need that support, but they're the ones that get employees engaged. But let me tell you, you start messing around with people's pay, and you can get them actively disengaged very quickly.
Oh, no kidding.
So it's those kinds of things, understanding where you are on the management model. Are you spending most of your time being a builder? And that's okay, but understand that your primary role is always, no matter how little time you spend being a leader, is always being a leader, because we always have to keep our employees engaged, and we have to make sure that we're not creating glitches in the systems that are going to tend to drive unengagement and active disengagement.
Okay, got it.
So those are very important. That balance concept is very, very important. And when we get all that right, that's when we start recovering all that money and that cost, and we start driving more and more performance.
Okay.
So it's like I said, it's just really huge in all of this stuff, and it just takes us back to the 7 elements. The model itself, it's not a complex model, but there's a lot of depth to it. It's not hard to understand when we start putting things in context, and we don't get it over complicated.
Right.
But it is just so powerful. It provides us with some really good information to make decisions about how we want to run our organization, how we want to move our organization forward. And we don't advocate that there's any one way to run an organization. The ways to run an organization are as varied as there are organizations out there. Every organization has to find its own culture. It has to find its own way of doing things. It has to understand its own purpose. Two companies could be in the same industry, and they could have entirely different purposes. Their purpose and values and goals are going to drive a lot of how they're going to make everything else work with each other. But it comes back to this foundation of trust and this leadership taking this role to say, hey, we're going to put our people at the center. We are going to trust them. Now let's figure out where we're going to move this organization and where we're going to take it, because we want to be an exceptional organization.
Perfect.
And that's the key. If leadership doesn't do that,
sitting duck.
And it's not just the top executives. When I say the leadership of the organization,
everybody.
I'm talking about all the leadership in the organization, and it does. I mean, there is no doubt that you don't have to have the title of manager to be a leader. There are a lot of leaders in an organization that don't have titles, but if you've got the title of manager, you must be a leader. If you're not a leader, you're not going to have engaged employees.
Right.
You're not going to have an exceptionally performing team, and your team's going to be dragging back the rest of the organization.
Right. Very true. Very true. So as we wrap up, where can people find you? How can they get in touch with you?
Well, again, you can find us on the web at www.resourcedevelopmentsystems.com. At our website, we have a whole bunch of articles and white papers. And again, you can access them without having to register. We're not going to hound you. If you find you like something and you want to talk to us further, we're happy to talk to you. Otherwise, please enjoy it, and hopefully you can do something with it in your organization. You can also follow me on LinkedIn at n/Gary Lear, on Twitter at @1GaryLear, and you can also find the book Leadership Lessons from the Medicine Wheel, which was a bestseller back in 2009 and 10. And that's still available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in both Kindle and Nook, as well as paperback. And you can find out more information about that at www.leadershiplessonsfromthemedicinewheel.com. So, and feel free to shoot us an email, info@rds-net.com, or give us a call at 888-909-6194. We'll be happy to talk with you. We're happy to answer questions and help you figure out what all this means to your organization, because it really is important, and it can really make a difference in your performance.
Perfect. If you would like to book Gary for a professional speaking engagement where he can transform your organization or your event, you can reach me, Kim Tracy, through maxwelljames.net. Thank you so much.